Welcome to Games from Folktales, a podcast that mixes historical research and tabletop role-playing settings. I'm your host, Timothy Ferguson. This is a bonus episode, The Secret Society Ramble. Because of a billing mix-up with my podcast host, it looks like I have an extra 2 hours of time this month, and so I went out to the Facebook groups associated with the games that I'm involved in and asked them how I could fill 2 hours of time really quickly, and one of the participants asked for me to ramble about secret societies. So here we are. Thanks for this, Benjamin. So, secret society. Let's start with an Ars Magica one. I need something to start with. Just popping back in during the edit to say the sound quality on this is deliberately bad. That is, it's a ramble, it's unscripted, so I'll say a lot. You'll hear that I cough a lot from gastric reflux. Pretty much all of that's in. I've used some automatic tools to shorten the length of any pauses I make and to cut out any tongue clicks, but other than that, this is kind of raw and horrible. If this is your first visit to Games from Folktales, please listen to anything else. Thanks, and now back to historical me. Moth. How did you get in? The cat probably brought you in. But enough about your life, Moth. Enjoy that light. What do I know about moths? Fuzzy, attracted to lights. Attracted to lights because they're attracted to the moon, which helps them to find their breeding direction. Hold their wings differently from butterflies. I was looking at butterflies last week. What did I... Yeah, apparently there's a thing that's halfway between a moth and a butterfly called a skipper. I'd never heard of them before. Presumably they're quite common, particularly for the American listeners. Apparently they have hooks instead of... moths have feathers for their antennae, and butterflies have little nodules. So, secret society revolving around moths. Skippers are called Hesperidae. Now, can I use that? The Hesperides are the islands at the far west of mythic Europe, where the dragon Ladorn resides. It's full of Atlantean magic. What else is happening in the far west? Night. The Mut, the Egyptian ghostly dead, come from the west. So, why are they called Hesperidae? Oh, evening. Evening, west. The butterflies of the evening, so they're called Hesperidae. Okay, so, I've got the Mut, calling up the Mut, always knowing which direction, knowing the phase of the moon. I'm looking for powers now. So, always knowing direction, maybe always knowing your Hesperidian coordinate for those of you who are using ancient magic. So I've got that. I've got conjuring the Mut. Who was the god of moths in ancient Egypt, if I'm using the Mut? Oh, it's Khonshu. Khonshu! Do you have my bail money? Fist of Khonshu. Any Moon Knight fans will know what I'm going on about there. So Khonshu is the god of safe travel by night, protection from wild beasts, protection from undead forces. So calling up the Mut probably isn't what I want. Dark of the moon, light of the moon. You could have two secret societies, one of which calls them up and the other of which puts them down. So, the next thing to do would be to create some sort of ladder for the abilities. So, direction sense, safe travel by night, something that allows you to see in the dark. Some sort of ward against animals that's particularly effective at night. Some sort of damage bonus against undead. Well, just against the infernal, maybe. Or against particular types of dark fairy. And what do we want to be at the very capstone? That's only 4 so far. Yeah, 5's enough. Otherwise, you weigh your character down with too many flaws to earn your way to the top. High Priest of Moth Khonshu. I did have this idea of them being a little bit like a Mut, being able to become a violent, evil shadow. But that would be the bad form, whereas Khonshu is cool, although he needs bail money. Sorry, I realise that's a very inside joke. It's from Moon Knight Corps. Something to do with transformations. Moths, muto magic. You can turn into a huge moth. I already have the statistics for a huge infernal butterfly on the blog, so that would be easy. You could just turn into this huge killer butterfly thing. Again, no, that seems like the bad side. What would the good side do? You could grant others transformation powers. I know. We've got the Sign of Selfless Decapitators in the Lands of the Nile. You have the ability to grant that shape to yourself and to a limited number of your allies. So, shape shift. Now, what sorts of things would you need to do to get these powers? Pilgrimages are the obvious one. You need to swear allegiance to the cult, so that's some sort of higher purpose or vow. I would need to actually look up the Khonshu cult to get some idea of what they did to their priests to get them to consecrate them. But there's some sort of consecration ritual. And I imagine there would be some sort of sacrifice of power so that you're weaker in the day and stronger at night time. Okay, so those are the basic bones of a mystery cult. Just to read through what we've got. The powers will be direct and sense, the ability to see and perhaps move better in the dark, ward against the animals of the night, damage bonus against infernal, and shapeshift into something similar to one of the Anubis decapitators. You know, theme shifted, of course, over to Khonshu. And the ordeals will be pilgrimage, higher purpose or vow, consecration ritual, and sacrifice of power. I will need to bust the book out to do the actual numbers, but I think that's probably fine for 9 minutes of rambling. Or was it fine for 9 minutes of rambling? This is me popping back in during the edit. I kept mentioning the possibility of an evil secret society, and I never gathered all of the ideas up, so here's what I'd suggest. The powers are silent movement, become a shadow, summon the Mut, become a Mut, and transform into the killer butterfly demon from the episode where we talked about utility monsters, Nozick's utility monster. And the ordeals would be the same: pilgrimage, higher purpose or vow, consecration ritual, sacrifice of power. Now, back to historical Timothy. Now, secret societies for Magonomia, we don't really have secret society rules as such. But let's build a secret society. So what do I want? Okay. I need my equivalent of Khonshu. I need something to grant the power. Okay. Say we have Queen Mary, and somehow she's still around. She's like undead or from an alternative dimension or whatever. And she's got a group of assassins, agents. And they want to do over Queen Elizabeth. This is boring so far. Okay, what do I know about Queen Mary? Daughter of Catherine of Aragon. Married the King of Spain. Okay, so the symbol of this society would be Rather than the Tudor rose, how about we have the rose and pomegranate, which was Henry Tudor used while he was married to Catherine of Aragon, because the pomegranate is the symbol of her royal house. The apple of Granada, pomegranate. Okay, right. So the pomegranate is where we get our word for the grenade. So their signature weapon is the grenade. Signature weapon, grenade. Sorry, I'm just taking notes while we're going here. So what could a grenade do that's interesting? Alchemical smoke, obviously. I need something more. Oh, I know. In modern fireworks, the main firework is actually many small fireworks that are clustered together, that the initial explosion disperses and then the smaller fireworks explode, which is why you see sparkly shapes. So, what would happen if their signature weapon, which is a grenade, rather than going off, scattered submunitions, which then went off to create multiple effects in an area? That's good, but not quite. They could pin out the corners of a summoning circle. 5 munitions that fire out and form a pentagram. And then something ridiculously powerful could come up through that summoning circle. Yeah, I think that works. What else can I do with grenades? Have magic items that they can kind of break pieces off and use a piece at a time. I don't want to over-egg the pudding here. Maginomia is a lot lower power than Ars Magica. But, so their core weapon is a sort of special smoke grenade. And on top of that, they have a summoning grenade. Oh, except if they come from another dimension, maybe their grenade is pegs out a portal that they fall through or step through. So portal grenade. I keep mentioning other dimensions. I know that if Elizabeth's brother Edward had survived, his version of England would have been very different. It would have been quite like, say, Sweden under Gustavus Adolphus. And I also sometimes, to make things a little bizarre for players, have items turn up from the reign of Queen Jane I. And now in the real world, Queen Jane lasted on the throne no time at all. Or from the reign of Queen Arabella, who didn't get onto the throne but was one heartbeat away for an awfully long time. So that's why I kind of like playing around with these ideas, and maybe another dimension where the Catholics are doing somewhat better. If you ever did discover a way in, it allows you to have quite complicated battles without completely wrecking the setting for people who want to maintain some sort of setting stability. Well, this was meant to be a ramble, and I think I've rambled on enough. There's 15 or so minutes on 2 secret societies, one for Ars Magica, one for Maginomia. Your saga may vary.